Okay, so today we speak about the law of the Orla fruit. And we'll see what we know about it. We see where is the source for it. What is the reason for it that we're not allowed to eat the Orla fruit? And Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll go through the law of the Orla. So, I see that only Stephen lifted up his hand. Anyone else about the Orla? No. So we have a negative command from the Torah, Rabotai, that not to eat the fruit that grown up on the first 3 years that you plant the tree. That's called Orla. Where is the source for it? The source for it we learn from our Holy Torah in Sefer Vayikra, in Parashat Kedoshim, in chapter 19, verse 23. The Torah tells us like this. I'm going to read it in Hebrew and then I translate it to English. וכי תבואו אל הארץ ונטעתם כל עץ מאכל וערלתם עורלתו את פריו 3 שנים יהיה לכם ערלים לא יאכל. What does it mean? I read it from the Art Scroll. When you shall come to the land and you shall plant any fruit tree, any fruit tree, remember that. You shall not treat its fruit, okay, as forbidden. For 3 years they shall be forbidden to you. They shall not be eaten. That's the source. If we read that verse, from that verse we can learn that, or it seems like, that the forbidden fruit on the first 3 years is only on the land of Eretz Israel, nachon? When you come to the land. Which land? Definitely not in South Africa or in America. When you come to the promised land is Eretz Israel. And you plant a tree, for the first 3 years you're not allowed to eat from that fruit. But in a Mishnah in Masechet Kiddushin, in chapter 1, Mishnah 9, Hazal teach us that not only the fruit that grow up in the first 3 years after we plant the tree is forbidden only in Eretz Israel, only in the diaspora. So we learn from here that there is a forbidden tree even if they grow overseas, not only in Eretz Israel. How do we learn that? We learn that from, Hazal explained that, it says, Ki tavou el haaretz. El haaretz, not necessary Eretz Israel. There, Hazal explained, and look at Mishnah, as I mentioned in Masechet Kedoshim, Masechet Kiddushin, chapter 1, Mishnah 9. Look at that Mishnah, and there they explain Hazal. Everyone understand? Question, Stevie? No. So let's continue. So the Torah tells us that we're not allowed to eat from the tree, from the fruit that grow from a fruit tree. But we have to understand the reason. So we have to understand, first of all, every mitzvah that comes, that we have, it's a decree from the Almighty. The Almighty make the decree and we can't change that. That's the decree from the Almighty. But Hazal come and given us a reason and try to help us to understand the reason behind it. What we call to illustrate it, to understand a little bit. So I'm going to bring actually 4 reasons why the Torah commands us not to eat from the trees, from the fruit that grow in the first 3 years. The Orla fruit, let's call them the Orla fruit, it's going to be easier. So I'm going to start, all the sources that I'm going to bring is from the Rishonim. The Rishonim, that means that from the 1000th century until the 16th century. That's considered the Rishonim. And I'm going to start with Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra. Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra, born in the city of Toledo in Spain. He born 930 years ago. And he explained like this. He said that the main reason that the Kadosh Baruch Hu command us not to eat the Orla fruit in the first 3 years He said like this, because when you eat from those fruit, you get no benefit. That means that the fruit that grow in the first 3 years, there's no benefit from it. There's not enough nutrition. A matter of fact, he said, לא רק שאין בהם תועלת, אלא שהפירות מזיקות לאדם. That means that those fruit that grow up actually can harm a human being. Why? Because they doesn't have all the nutrition in those fruit. So we see from here that according to Rabbi Avraham and Ibn Ezra, the reason that the Torah tells us that the Orla fruit are forbidden, because they're not healthy. The Ramban, the Maimonite, he born also in Spain. He born in the city of Cordova, what we call it today. He born 884 years ago. In his book, he wrote the book, The Guide for the Perplexed. And in part 3, chapter 37, he explained why the Torah tells us that we're not allowed to eat from the Orla fruit. And he explained like this, that in the olden days, in those days, the sorcerers, the witchcrafters, used to put a special witchcrafting around the tree, and immediately, on the first year, the tree used to bring fruit. And with those fruit that used to come from the tree, they used to sacrifice to Avodah Zarah, to the idols. HaKadosh Baruch Hu commands us not to eat from those fruit, only on the 4th year to bring the first fruit to where? To Bet HaMikdash. Why? To conquer that idol worshipping, that we should not follow the sorcery and believing in idols. That's according to the Rambam, the Maimonite. The Ramban, the Nachmanite, he also born in Spain. He born in Catalonia, in the city of Catalonia in Spain. And he explained that the reason that we don't eat from the Orla fruit, by the way, he born 825 years ago. And he explained that the reason that we're not eating from those fruit, it's because that the fruit is not developed enough. There's not enough good smell on it. And the taste, it's not a good taste yet. He explained very similar to the Ibn Ezra, but he said that we have to understand that the main idea is that we should take the fruits in the 4th year to Bet HaMikdash, to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu then will bring the prosperity to us. That means that we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu by the 4th years, because 3 years you're not allowed to eat, only on the 4th year. In the 4th year you take the fruit to where? To Bet HaMikdash, to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu thank you, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us prosperity. The 4th opinion that I'm going to bring is from Rabbi Aaron HaLevi. Rabbi Aaron HaLevi also born in Spain. He born in the city of Gorondi, or Gorondia, in the olden days. He born 784 years ago, and he wrote the famous book, Sefer HaChinuch. Everyone heard that. In Mitzvah 247, he explained that the main reason of Orla, very similar to the Rambam, that we should go to Bet HaMikdash and bring the first fruit to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu do only good for us. And if we show our thank you, he will bring more prosperity on us. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bless our vineyard, our orchard, or our field, whatever we bring, and that will be blessed by that we show in thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we didn't eat for the first 3 years. Any question before I continue? No. Now we say that it's 3 years. I'm going to start now with the laws of Orla, and focus with me. Every one of us think that 3 years, it's a complete 3 years, but it's not. Sometimes it can happen that it can be 2 years and few months. You know that? No. So how's it work? If you plant the tree before the 15th of Av, Rabotai, remember, 15th of Av, before Tu B'Av, okay? then that's considered as a year. Why? How can it be? So Hazal explained like this. First of all, we have to understand that 30 days considered as a year of the plant. And then we have another 2 weeks, that it's together 44 days from Tu B'Av to Rosh Hashanah, that will help the seeds that we plant, okay, to sprout. So it takes 2 weeks to sprout. You understand what I'm saying? Plus the 30 days, we see that it's 44 days. 44 days already considered as a year. So any tree or any seed that be planted before Tu B'Av, considered as a year. If you plant it on a 16 of Av, doesn't help already.
Even a day?
Even a day doesn't consider a year. It has to be planted before the 15th of Av. And then you count another 2 years, and that's considered 2 years and few months, and that's considered as 3 years. So we see from here that number one, the 3 years, it's not necessary have to be full 3 years. Depends when you plant it. The Mishnah in Masechet Orla in chapter 3, Mishnah 9, tell us something very important. We're learning that, from that Mishnah we're learning that the negative command of eating, not allowed to eat the Orla fruit, it's in the Espra and we say in Eretz Israel. But what's happened if it's a safek? Safek is a doubt. You doubt if those fruit are Orla or not. In Eretz Israel, you're not allowed to eat from those fruit. In the Espra, you can eat from them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there is a difference between Eretz Israel to the Espra. In Eretz Israel, if you have a doubt if those fruit are Orla or not, you're not allowed to eat them. In the Espra, you're allowed to eat them. Orla, when you know that the fruit of the Orla, the forbidden fruit, is Orla, we're not allowed to eat from them, and we're not allowed to benefit from them forever. La'olam. That's mean. What it means to benefit from them? To take the fruit and to give it to the animal. That's considered benefit. Why? Because instead of buying fruit, you're giving it to your animal. The law of Orla, it's only applicable to tree. And that's very complicated. You have to focus with me here because otherwise you might going to lose it. The Orla fruit, applicable only for tree. But which tree? That's the most important. It's a tree that gives fruit. Not only that the fruit is forbidden, the skin is forbidden, and the pips. But fruit that grow from the ground, and I'll explain that we say Birkat Borei Pri Adama, okay? Or vegetables that grow, that we say Borei Pri Adama, you don't have to wait 3 years. And now focus with me what I'm trying to say. We all know that the tree of banana, what do you say on the tree of banana? What blessing you say? Pri Adama. You don't have to keep the Orla fruit. A papaya, a pawpaw, it's a fruit that we say Borei Pri Adama, though there is a mahloket on it, but most of the poskim agree that it's Adama. We don't have to wait 3 years. Pineapple is a tree, but we say Borei Pri Adama. Sorry?
It's a plant. It's not really a tree.
Whatever you want to call it, a plant, but it looks like a tree. The pawpaw look like a huge tree. Did you see a pawpaw? A pawpaw look like a coconut tree. No, it's a little bush this height at least, not on the ground. You know what grow on the ground? What fruit? Watermelon. Melon. Those one what consider Borei Pri Adama. There is a big difference between a fruit of the ground to the fruit that grow on a tree or like on a branch. And you see that the pineapple, what brocha you say on it? Borei Pri Adama. You agree with me? So that you don't have to keep Orla. Not only that, you know passion fruit.
Yeah.
Passion fruit. Grenadilla, passion fruit. You don't have, although that it's grow on a bush, but it's grow very high, that you say Borei Pri Adama, and you don't have to keep Orla. You can eat it on the first year. Why? Because it's considered the fruit of the ground. And you say, what brocha on it? Borei Pri Adama. So from here, we learn halacha. What does the halacha say? Number one, every fruit that you say Borei Pri Ha'adama, you don't have to keep 3 years on those fruit. Although that it look like a tree, you still don't have to keep the 3 years. So it's not forbidden. Obviously, vegetables or any sprout that grow, or weeds, or spices or herbs, that definitely you don't have to. You follow? Now come a very complicated question. A cane sugar, the cane. Sugar cane. What brocha will you say on that? Should you keep? Shouldn't you keep? A sugar cane, you don't have to keep orla. Okay. What's happened with certain fruit that a human being can't eat? These little berries, that you see quite often, that the animal can eat them. Or birds. Those fruit, because it's not belong to, it's not that it's not belong. A human being can't eat them, or most human being doesn't eat them. Because I was the other day somewhere and I saw berries. And it was a white guy, Jewish boy. And he eaten those berries. I never saw people eating those berries. I see the birds eating. Those berries, you don't have to keep a orla. Because most human being doesn't eat them. You find one or two that can eat them. There's certain people that can eat them. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
What I heard was that with
Sorry, Steve, speak loudly.
what I heard about the Borei Pri Adama, the fruit of Borei Pri Adama and eggs, is where the fruit can be grown on the same.
What you're saying is those fruit that grow in the first year. Nachon? But we don't count, not only that what we take into consideration. We take another thing. That does it have a sump? The roots with the sump. You understand? Because if you look, a banana tree, what is it? It's a water sump. It's not proper roots, doesn't have. You agree with me? The same, the papaya, it's bring on the first year. Okay. Now, what's happening if you buy a fruit from a Gentile?
Yeah, and he doesn't know this law.
He doesn't know this law, but he tell you, listen, you ask him, listen, the fruit here, when is it from? Messiah lefitumo it's called. So, the fruit that grown up from a Gentile also have the law of Orla. We're not allowed to eat from them. I know that it's belonged to him, but we're still forbidden to eat from them. Why? Because the Torah tells us that you have to keep 3 years. And if we go according to the Rambam, the Maimonite, what was the idea? To be careful of witchcrafting and idol worshipping. If we look at the Even Ezra, Rabbi Avraham Even Ezra said that they're not healthy. There's no nutrition. So why are you eating them? So wherever we go through, we see that there is no health. We're not allowed to eat from it. So, but the Mishnah in Masechet Orla tell us, even if the Goy tell you that those fruit growing, whatever he start telling you, you ask him and he start telling you, I planted here, I planted there. Okay? In that case, we always have to be more strict.
How do we even know?
Today, it's the market. They buy from the market. You don't know from.
Today, because we have a doubt, and that's what I say, that if we have a doubt, you remember I said earlier, I see that you miss it, that from the Mishnah and Masechet Orla we learn that if we have a doubt on an Orla fruit, on a forbidden fruit, if they are from the first 3 years or not, in Eretz Israel we're not allowed to eat from them. You remember I said?
Yes.
But if it's grown up in a diaspora, we don't so strict about it. You're allowed to eat from them. So look at it. Most of the fruit today that come in South Africa, and Menachem, please correct me if I'm wrong, they all grow up here. Am I right? They don't export most of the fruit. Most of them grow here. I mean, if you look, watermelon grow here. Passion fruit grow here. What else? Everything.
Base fruit gets exported anyway, sir.
No, but they're growing here. They're grown here. So in that case, most of the fruit is from here. It's not from Eretz Israel. Therefore, we have a leniency to eat them, even if it's Orla, because we don't know.
The pomegranates that we buy,
Pomegranates grow here. I brought my daughter the other day. I was at a customer. I took one pomegranate from his tree. Now it's the time of the pomegranate in South Africa, by the way. Now, February, March, it's the best time for the pomegranate tree. Yes, Brenton. Sorry? Oh, you scratch your head. Okay, I was thinking that you...
So unless you see a box that says Israeli for men.
That's it. Made in Israel or grown up in Israel or been exported from Israel.
Yeah.
But most of the fruit today in Eretz Israel, they try to keep Orla, most of them. But look, if it's a Lelo Hashash Orla, most of them have the stamp there.
Like a headshot.
Yeah. Now I'm going to get to a different law. What's happening with the Orla regarding the 4 species? The etrog. It's a problem. If you know, without no doubt, and now we're speaking about Israel because I didn't see a tree of etrog here. Anyone saw a tree of etrogim? Who? Who have? Show me one. I looked, everyone told me I plant a tree of etrog. I didn't see one etrog from here. Sorry? Did you see?
No, I know about somebody that's got it.
I know that someone say, but I didn't see a decent etrog here. So,
Apparently we got the talking from Morocco, so that's what it is, right?
okay, very good. Those etrogim in Morocco usually been supervised by who? The people that look after them, they have ashgahot. There is a etrogim that the Chabad people use. They come from Italy. Calibra. I don't know if you heard about them. Etroge Calibra. That's come from Italy. The same. They look after them. Make sure that they look after them. So what's happening? Should we keep Orla or not? So when it's come to etrogim, the law of Orla applicable to it. And we're not allowed to use it not only on the first day, that it's mitzvah deoraita, because we know that the first day, the 4 species, it's a decree from the Torah. The rest of the day, the second day to the 8 days in the diaspora, it's rabbinical decree. And also, we're not allowed to use etrogim from Orla year, that have Orla on it. You follow? What happened with the date tree that's been grown, because that's how we make the lulavim? What's happened there? So if you take a tree of a date, that tree been planted specially to make lulavim for the 4 species. Okay? So the dates that grow on that tree have a law of Orla. But when it's come to the lulavim, you don't have the law of Orla. You're not eating. Not only that, because, and then we allowed obviously to use it during the Hag. You know what I'm saying? Although that we know that those lulavim grown on a first year or the second year or the third year, during the first 3 years. So let's stop here and let's summarize, because you're going to get confused. Any fruit that we say Birkat Adama, any fruit, and that's considered watermelon, melon, whatever grow, and we say Birkat Adama, although that it look even like a tree, like a pawpaw, pineapple, banana, that we don't have to keep orla. You follow? When it's come to the etrog, although that we don't eat it, we still have to keep the orla here. We're not allowed to use it. When it's come to the lulav, no problem to use it. You follow? Now, what's happened if a Gentile and a Jew have a vineyard that they partner with, or orchard that they have a partnership with, or a field that whatever they grow there, are they obligated for orla or not, those fruit? The Jewish person not allowed to eat from them, but the Gentile allowed to eat, because the orla law not applicable to Gentile, it's applicable to us. You understand the difference? What does that mean? That means that the Jewish people are not allowed to sell them. And if the Jewish people know that the Gentile allowed to get benefit from it and allowed to sell them, you have to make sure that they not sell to a Jewish people. Or you should put a sign, those fruit are orla. So Jewish people are not going to buy. You follow? Very complicated.
Rabbi, unless the Jew is a Chabad, then he's going to teach the Goy.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story about it. I think I sent it on a group about Mordechai. Mordechai gone up in the UNRWA. UNRWA is the institute. Did you see it? I saw it on a group, Rabbi David Levy group. It's there. Look at that. And that person was a Jewish boy, grown up hating Jews. Then he left to Canada, and in Canada he met that Chabad rabbi. He said to him, I learned to hate myself until I found out a Jew, because his mother was a Jewish. Let's go to another law. What's happened if we want to transplant a fruit tree from one place to another place? Should we count 3 years or not with those fruit? Menachem, what you say?
That's a good question.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I tell you, I try to summarize. You know, the law of Orla is much more than what I'm telling you. But I'm trying to summarize the most important question that it will really applicable to us here in the diaspora and to every human being that can happen. Like quite often people fall in love with a tree in one house, and then they bought another house. And the wife said, I'm not living without my lemon tree or without my apple tree. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. What would you do? So you transplant that tree, nachon? Now, should you count 3 years? Or immediately you can use the tree. Although that it's grown up, it's have already fruit. 3 years passed long ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Should you keep 3 years or not? You understand the Shala? It's a very complicated matter. And you have to look at that situation like this. If the tree that you took, and on the roots there is enough soil, there is on the roots enough soil that if you plant it, it can survive. Although that you're going to add up more soil, okay, you don't have to keep it. Why? Because it can survive. It's like he planted. But if you take a tree without a soil, or the soil that there is on it, not going to keep it, that you have to add up oil to keep it alive, it's like look, you plant a tree new, like renew planting. You renew plant it, keep another 3 years. So we see from here that it all depends if the soil that there is enough, if the soil that on the roots is enough or not. Do you understand?
So you have to dig around
Whatever, it doesn't make a difference. Whatever soil that there is on it, is it enough or not? The last question, what's happening regarding counting the Orla years in a leap year? You understand? Yes. Huh? Orla. You didn't. Okay, for you, Stephen, I will explain. Orla is a forbidden fruit. It's the fruit that's grown up in the first 3 years that you plant the tree. You're not allowed to eat those fruit. That's called Orla. You follow? The question becomes, when we count the 3 years, what's happening in the leap year? No, Stevie? Good question, I got you. It's very simple.
Once you drop off the month, then
Sorry?
when you drop off the month, then you just can't get
You drop a month.
That's what, otherwise you just leave it. 3 years, another month's not going to make any difference.
Norman, I can see that you was an engineer. Huh? You always make a plan.
You better make a plan.
Norman, so I explained. There's no difference if it's a leap year or not a leap year. You count 3 years, the same like in the normal years. That's how we count. So let's summarize what we learned today about the Orla. It's not so simple, Orla. I hope that it was interesting you, this subject. We know that we have a law, a negative command from the Torah not to eat from the fruit that grown, a fruit that grown on a tree, and we say Borei Pri Ha'etz for the first 3 years from the day of planting. And we explain the source for it come from the Torah. In Sefer Vayikra in Parashat Kedoshim, chapter 19, verse 23, there the Torah tells us the source. We brought the reason behind it. Besides that, that's a decree. But for us to understand the reason, we brought 4 different reasons. We brought the Ibn Ezra that said that it's not healthy. We brought the Rambam that it's witchcrafting. We brought the Ramban that say that you should show your appreciation, okay, and you should wait. And then we brought the Sefer HaChinuch that say that only in the 4th years you bring it to get prosperity. And then we brought all the different laws. So one thing is very clear, that any brocha that you say Borei Pri Ha'etz, you have to keep Orla. And if you have a doubt in a diaspora, if it's Orla or not, you don't have to keep, you can eat. Any brocha that you say Borei Pri Ha'adama, you don't have to. Although that it look like a tree, like a banana tree, pineapple, especially the pawpaw, that it's a huge tree, or the passion fruit, grenadilla, that you don't have to keep 3 years. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we know a little bit about the law of the forbidden fruit that called Orla, we keep it, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please God, will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu, and then we'll take those fruit to Bet HaMikdash, and we're all going to see Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day.